I'm going to continue modeling the steampunk lamp here. I'm going to start by putting the pipes together in the shape of the lamp and then work on the bulb socket. So here is the image, and of course the reference image is available to download if you wanted to follow along with me. So I got this base here and this long piece, and then I'm going to go for a curved piece, a small one, and a curved piece. So we're going to take this piece here, and I'm going to bring it up. And I think I'm just going to do this by eye, mostly, anyhow. Alright, so let's see how far down we want to put that. Something like that. Alright, let's take this piece and bring it up. I'm going to go into edit mode and select it, rotate Y 90 and bring it in. That looks fine to me. Short piece, and then we have this pipe piece coming around. Let's shift D to duplicate it. And let's rotate Y 180. And I'm just pressing G to grab, go. And I'll put it like that. Alright, that's basically it. And now it's time to start working on the bulb socket here. And to do that, I'm going to bring in the reference image right at this spot so I can model against this thing. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to just have that piece selected and bring my 3D cursor there and Shift A, image reference, and find it. And then I'm going to press G and I'm going to scale it up so it approximately fits the same size. And a little bit more. And I'm going to start with that so that I can model this. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't match up perfectly because this one's taken on an angle, that kind of thing. All right, so the goal is to now model this thing right here. Okay, so I'm going to model the main part of the socket as two pieces. This and this is going to be one piece. And this is going to be a separate piece because to create these holes, these are indentations, these sort of square rectangular indentations, is kind of difficult in subdivisions surface, which I'm going to have on this. So that'll be a separate piece and that'll be modeled differently. I'll show you that. But for this main one, I'm going to use a cylinder. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to just bring in the cylinder. And I'm going to leave it at 32, but I'm going to change the cap fill to nothing. So there's nothing on the ends there. I'm going to look from number 1, front orthographic view, and scale this down. And I'm going to switch to wireframe, Z wireframe, and get the approximate size. And it's not going to line up perfectly, but that's totally fine. It doesn't have to. I'm going to press 1 for vertex selection and B, box select, and pull this up. And I'm just going to make something that looks cool, like a socket. All right, so with that selected, I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to S to scale, come out a bit. Maybe pull it down a bit. E to extrude, come down and get that. E, S, and come out. So I get the approximate width. And then E to extrude, and I'll pull it right down to here. S, and pull it out. And then Control R to put an edge loop, and S to scale. Put an edge loop here, Control R, S to scale, and round this out a bit. Control R, and S. And I've got that piece there. Go back into solid view, have a look at this. I'm going to go Control 2 and shade smooth and just look at this. And at this point I'll come back in and Control R, I'll bring an edge loop down, tighten that up. And I might Shift Alt and click that edge and look at this and decide that maybe I want to pull that down a little bit. Make sure I've shaded smooth. I'll deal with this edge later. Okay, so I've got that. Next thing I'm going to do is go back into edit mode and Shift Alt and click here, and I'm going to copy this, Shift D. I'm going to pull this down, and I can adjust the spacing of this later. Okay, E to extrude, come down to here and pop back into wireframe. E, I'm going to come in, S to scale. Now I'm going to turn off the subdivision. It's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. Come into there, and I think I'll E to extrude, come down a little bit straight, so there's a little bit of a gap. E to extrude, I'll come back and I'll scale out a bit. Come down straight. E, I'll come down and scale out a bit. E, put a bit of a flat area here. E, come in. Hold Shift if you need to go a bit slower. Pull that up a bit. S. I'll go about there. I think I'll put another little flat area. E and S, come out a little bit. Oops. And angle it like that. E. Just getting some kind of a shape that would look okay, I hope. And then to make that ridge, maybe I'll come all the way down and then put an edge loop here, something like that. Let's go back out of wireframe. Maybe we'll select this, and we'll just E and Alt S, push. Let's put the subdivision on and shade smooth. And then we'll just come in with a couple of edge loops. Put another edge loop here. Maybe another one here. That looks okay. We'll do something on the end there. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to go back and start putting things in collections. I'm going to hide the empty with the background image, and I'm going to select all these pieces here. M collection, pipes. That I'm going to call socket. And this I think I'll move into pipes as well. So I can easily do stuff like that if I wanted to. Take that period key to zoom in. Okay. I'll create the little hole in a moment for that. Okay, so I'm going to select these two edges and Shift S, cursor to select it to bring my 3D cursor there. I'll bring back the empty, the reference image, and I'm going to create this piece. And the way I'm going to do this is going to be a little bit different. So Shift A, mesh, plane, go into edit mode, let's scale it down a bit, rotate X 90, scale it to just sort of overlaps. Okay, I'm going to go back into wireframe mode, Control R and Control B, and I'm going to pull until I get the approximate width of one of these squares. It doesn't matter if it doesn't line up. I'm going to bring an edge loop down to about there, and down to about there. Let's go back into solid. So I'm going to use this space here to create my indent. Press I to inset, pull it in a little bit, and then E to extrude and pull it back a ways, and then at edge selection, grab that edge and pull it out. Looks like that. Okay, let's start with that. Then I'm going to come over here, click array, and in the X direction, I'm going to turn on merge, and I'm going to put in about 12. We'll see how we do with that. Okay, so I want this to wrap around a circle. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to bring in a curve, circle, and scale it to the approximate diameter that I would want. All this can be adjusted. And then I'm going to select this array and add a curve modifier for the curve object. Use the eyedropper, and I'm going to select the circle. I'm just going to do that. Now it might look a little bit weird, so I'm going to go back in edit mode. I'm going to rotate this around. Rotate X 180. And now I have that. However, my blocks are in the wrong place and it's not quite the right size. So I am going to hold shift and maybe I'll use 11. Okay. And I'm going to S to scale, and I'm going to scale like this until I just about hit. S to scale, and hold shift and pull it as close as I can. That's pretty good. Okay, now I'll go with that, and then I'll move those down as opposed to rotating the thing. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply those modifiers, and I can now get rid of that circle. So I've got this. Not quite done, but now I'm going to go into edit mode. And I could have come a little closer, but I'm going to hold shift and alt and click those two edges there. And I'm going to join them. I'm going to bridge edge loops, Control E, bridge edge loops, and I'm going to turn on merge. And that's going to give me one line instead of two. So I'm going to have that. I'll go into edit mode, look from the front, wireframe. In fact, I'm going to turn on the empty. And actually, I don't need that, I don't think. I'm just going to do it my way. Okay, I'm going to go into vertex selection. I'm going to grab all these, and I'm just going to pull them downwards. So that when I slide this into place, those are a little bit more near the bottom. And I can do that again and match it up a little bit better. So I've got that so far. Bevel. I'm going to do 3, 0.02. Turn on angle. Shade smooth. And I'm going to also, on that bevel, come down to geometry, and for the miter outer, let's switch that to arc. I should get a slightly better rounding on these. It's actually pretty good right there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to Shift Alt and click that edge, E and S, pull it in, and this one, pull it in, and then come up here and here, and we'll bevel. Control B, pull just like that. I think is going to be. Scale this in. And I now have that piece. Let's hide the empty. Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to come back and have a look at this. Let's focus just on that by pressing the slash key. I'll bring back the empty. So I can't focus on that. I'm going to hide that piece. And we'll just look in wireframe. So we've got this hole here where the little knob comes out. All right. But I think I'm going to use faces at the front to do this. It's just a little easier. I'll get back into wireframe. So I'm going to bring in an edge loop, bring it down to around the bottom of where that hole would be. And in face selection, number 3, I'm going to select these two faces. I'm going to press I to inset and pull it in a little bit. I'm going to hold Shift just to give it a bit more support when I delete it like this. And select these faces and delete them. Now I have this. Control R, pull down. I do want a bit of a curve. I don't want too tight. And I'll put one kind of near the top like that. So I'll have that. Now I'm going to give this some thickness with solidify. And I'm pull it in something like that. And slide that above there. I'm going to go ahead and apply that solidify. Come back, Control R, pull an edge loop out, but just not right to the end. A bit of smoothness. So now I have that. It should look okay. And I'm going to come up to this one here, and I'm going to put an edge loop here and just drag it out and drag it in. Not necessarily going to be seen, but it's there. All right, we've got that. So I do have my hole right in the front. I can always rotate this if I decide I want to. Okay, great. Now I'll make a quick knob of sorts. I can't really tell what this is, so I'm just going to do anything. So I'm going to bring in a cylinder. I don't have to do 32. I can do like whatever I want, 22, let's say. Nothing on the ends is fine. Scale it down. And I'll just bring it out. Scale it. Rotate X 90. I just want it to be smaller than there. Put it back. Let's say it goes in that far. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the inside, if anything. And I'm going to take this out. You know, something like that. We'll see. And just build anything here. E and S come out quite a bit now. Actually, let's just start building this. And now, no, we'll hide all this stuff and have a look at this. It looks like the knob sort of goes higher than this piece, and it's almost like it's higher than that piece, and it comes down quite far near the bottom. So I want a relatively large knob that's almost the size that I want. It's a little bit bigger, maybe. Extrude, come out, E and S, and E, come out, E and S. And I might just have to fill it. Let's come back and take these sharp edges here, and we'll bevel them. Control B, pull. I'll put one subdivision because I'm going to go Control 1 or Control 2. Oops, shade smooth. Control 1 for now is doing it. vein edge loop up here. Maybe I'll put one down here. Here. And I have that. Let's hide the reference image. I think I'll come up to the top here and I'll put an edge loop. Let's see, I'll pull it out. I'll put one in as well. That part's going to be hidden, but just because. So I need to do something here. Let's have a look at this. So probably this bolt comes in quite a bit smaller diameter to grab onto this thing. So let's just do that. Let's come in here and just grab this and S to scale it in. And just to be complete, I might want to pull that up. I don't know that we would ever see this. I can turn that into a circle, might be nicer. And I might actually make this whole thing just a little bit bigger. I'm just going to do S. It'll fit a bit nicer, and I just think I would like that a bit better. And this is what it looks like so far. Okay, that's looking just fine to me, and so I think I'll leave it there for now, and in the next video we'll come back and start working on the bulb, and then eventually the filaments, and some kind of a base. And there's a small chance that I will decide to adapt one of these pipes and put on some other kind of a valve or gauge or something, or I may stay true to the original. So we'll see. So I guess that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.